Welcome to another episode of the Play Callers Sports Talk Radio Show. This is the hottest hour in sports talk, and we are the dynamic duo. Of course, you have myself, one half, Triangle Boss, Stephen Boss, and as always, my co-host, other side, other side.
Cool McCain.
So, guys, before we jump into the show tonight, we obviously have a lot going on for you, but we do want to just take a moment and just remember all of those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. So, we just have a moment of silence for them. All right, so cool. We are like we're having unprecedented stuff going on right now, man. We have the NFL is back, college football is back, the NBA playoffs are going. Their football season. What is this? 2020
And the WNBA.
and the WNBA and baseball's in full swing. I mean, dude, it's crazy. We have
Oh
so
yeah.
much sports going on right now. So unprecedented times for sure. We had a lot to discuss. So where do you want to start?
Well, man, I say we start with college football.
Okay. No, your
So
your Hurricanes got a win last night, so your season's off to a good start.
yeah, we one of the first Power Five team I do believe to play. Definitely the first ACC team to play. Everyone else will be kicking off this weekend. So just excited to see that you know we're starting to get back to having more sports than normal this time of year. After so many months of kind of not having anything, and then we had basketball. But great to see some of these other sports starting to to start, come back, and give us options. There's nothing wrong with having options. Obviously, we'll be missing some teams um, from college football, but it is what it is. Show must go on. Um, but I was excited to see Miami come out and play really well, but more excited just to get through a game from a Power Five school. No incidents. Everything seems cool, and head into a full weekend. I know Clemson has a matchup, I believe, against Wake Forest, so that'll be interesting. The top team in the country playing. I believe that's going to be on 7:30 on ESPN. I think that's one of
Mm.
the main games tomorrow. But a lot of good games on the slate for tomorrow. Won't go into too much detail with the college just because it's new, exciting. Want to let everybody see who's playing, who isn't. If some of these teams missing certain pieces are going to affect the expectations for them for the year after seeing them play an actual game. Um, Interesting that we started off with our non-conference game. So from here on out, everything is conference. Whereas a lot of the other schools decided to go ahead and play a conference game first and then slot their non-conference game somewhere into their season.
Yeah, I know a lot of teams did have to do that. I know in the case of Florida State, we actually had to kind of change things up just a little bit because the opponent we originally had scheduled, their conference decided not to play, and we had to switch. We had to accommodate the scheduling change there. So definitely, that's definitely unique you guys are doing. So
Oh yeah, man. It gets you talking. We always have a bunch of SEC teams that are at the top. Obviously, Big 12 teams, ACC teams are pretty much going to be the poll for this year. I mean, we can spin it either way, but that is, and then obviously you may have one or two teams from some of the smaller conferences that they play really well and may be able to fight their way into the top 25. But I'm just excited to have it there. I
yep.
don't care who's playing. I'll be watching. I'm pretty much going to be watching college football, basketball, WNBA, slide a little baseball in there, and then Sundays, of course, are football. So I'm just excited to kind of have some of that normalcy back, and then I feel like bonus on top of the normalcy. So really exciting sports time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a lot going on right now. It felt really weird to me last night having to make a decision between watching the first NFL game of the year or watching a Lakers playoff game. I mean, it was an easy choice for me, but nonetheless, it was just a weird choice to have to make.
Anything like it was for me, it was a pleasant choice,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because we were able to say, hey, I've got two things that I really could be interested in watching on at the same time. One of the spectacular things I noticed about the scheduling for a lot of sports, obviously baseball has kind of had to do what it has to do, but they were giving you a good job of at least being able to say, well, I can watch a little bit of this, then tune into this, so you can kind of get a little bit of different options that are available. I noticed
yeah.
the WNBA games ran different from the NBA games as far as start and stop times. MLB ran a little different, so kind of give you a chance to at least check out a little bit of both if you're interested in that, or multiple ones if you're interested. So hopefully that'll keep up, and just excited, man. Not really showing it at the moment, but inside I'm just really excited that all this is going on.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at the scheduling, I'm looking at like tomorrow. A lot of the college football games are going to be on at night, and the NBA playoff games are also going to be on at the same time. I'll be really curious to see, with it being the NBA playoffs and with it being the first games of the college football season, what the ratings will look like. And kind of be able to compare those to what a football ratings normally look like, what a basketball ratings normally look like for this place in the finals or in the playoffs, and just kind of see how they impact each other, because that's something that we've never had an opportunity to see before. So it'd be really interesting.
It will, but keep in mind there's only going to be one game tomorrow, so that might affect it a little. It might skew it a little bit because Lakers and Rockets will be the only game um, that'll be on. So that
Yeah,
could be interesting.
well, and I do have a feeling that a lot of people may skip the Lakers game tomorrow just because a lot of people may just feel like it's a foregone conclusion that LA is going to wrap the series up, and they're just like, well, I'll skip it, and then I'll catch them against the Clippers. That's pretty much what everybody's just kind of assuming at this point. Of course,
I
I
mean,
think the Rockets and the Nuggets probably want to have something to say about that, but
doesn't seem like they're going to have too much to say about it.
yeah, I was just checking out the score. I was also well, you know, unless you guys overcome an 11-point deficit in a quarter here, it's not looking too hot.
Oh man, Michael Porter Jr. said it best, man. Um, Coaches need to call plays for more people. Guys need to step up and you know affect the game more. It takes a team to win.
Wait a minute. At least your team has two people to watch. Milwaukee, they only had Giannis.
Well, see, the thing is, that's the main problem with Milwaukee.
I agree.
You know, speaking of Giannis, the main problem with Milwaukee is you have Chris Middleton, who's supposed to bring a certain skill set. You have a Kyle Korver there, supposed to bring a certain skill set. Eric Bledsoe, you got the Lopez twins. I believe this Robin actually is playing well. Um, so you have pieces, but I think for them, just watching, is a couple of different things that I've said this before on this show. Giannis really needs to work on that mid-range jump shot because that gives him so much more versatility. Because you can't stop him on a drive. All you can do is hope to get a foul or he miss. But if he can pull up on you and hit that, 8 to 15 footer, that's it. Just 8 to 15 footer. If he can add that to his game,
Yeah.
he becomes so much more of a monster. But I think at the end of the day, Chris Middleton has to decide, I'm going to play my game whether Giannis is out here or not. If Giannis is standing beside me, if Giannis is on the bench, if Giannis is not playing, I'm still going to be nice with it. And honestly, that's what they're missing. They could obviously use probably a few more shooters. Um, Never have enough of those guys, 3-and-D guys. But, the team is not poorly constructed. They just have to play to the maximum of their abilities to get to where they want to get to. Giannis has another year left. You've got to kind of put the right team and the right system around him to show him that, hey, Giannis, we can win here.
Yeah.
Because I think You go out in the first, you go out again early next year, then we're having a whole different conversation about what Giannis is going to do. I think as of now, he'll probably sign something to stay, but we don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. When you look at Giannis right now, I think that it is a situation where they need to be able to show him. But I do think that him getting hurt was actually the best thing that happened to them because what we saw, and you heard me make the joke about it a couple times that they were really Giannis and the Watchers, and him being out those 2 games, or well, really like one in basically have almost basically 2 games, was it forced them to have other guys step up and play. So maybe, just maybe, next year they'll actually understand, hey, we can go out here and actually play even without him, and then they'll be able to figure out how to do that with him on the court because then they could actually have a really good chance of representing the Eastern Conference next year in the finals. If they just go back to being Giannis and the Watchers, they're going to get eliminated in the playoffs again next year before they make it to the finals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see. I mean, that's a question that's going to come up there. So I'm curious, what were your thoughts? We hadn't really talked about this, and I know this wasn't on our list, but I just happened to think about it. I'm curious, what were your thoughts on Billy Donovan deciding that he did not want to come back to Oklahoma City?
I don't blame him. That team without Chris Paul next year is not going to be a very good team. Um, they may still make the playoffs because a lot of your real young teams aren't quite ready. But Chris Paul was the reason this year. Yeah. And I think if you're Billy Donovan, if you don't get the long-term commitment, which I'm pretty sure he probably wasn't going to get from Oklahoma City, why come and go through that essentially rebuild with that team?
Yeah.
When you can go somewhere else, there's a lot of jobs open. You have experience. You don't need experience clearly these days, but you have it. So you should be able to, go land a job where you have a better chance to win quicker. Because honestly, at the end of the day, at some point you don't win. It's the coach's fault. So I don't blame him for just opting to not come back or whatever actually happened. I know he was part of it. I think the organization may have wanted to go in a different direction, maybe with a young coach as well, to grow with the team. But I don't blame him for wanting to move on to what I perceive to be greener pastures.
Wait, man. Maybe if Mike D'Antoni does end up not coming back in Houston, maybe they'll go get Billy Donovan. They seem to be taking everything else from Oklahoma City, so.
If I was him, I would not want to go there unless you're going to trade for or acquire 2 big men to play. Because right now you're playing park and rec ball in the NBA, and that works when you're playing against another park and rec ball team. But once you come up against a team that can actually, really play set plays and have bigs that they can use, like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, larger guys that have the skills to still play on the wing, you can't match. And that's what's happening to Houston right now. And that's why I never expected them to win the series.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for the longest that I don't think small ball can win in the NBA. It's just because at the end of the day, man, like in order to be successful and play small ball, your difference is if you out hustle everybody. If your intensity is higher, if you play at a higher, more consistent level than your opponent, then you can kind of neutralize the size difference. But if your opponent is bigger than you and they also come out and play with the same intensity you do, guess what? They're still bigger than you. So, as long as a team is willing to match your intensity, they're going to beat you.
Well, so to me, small ball has its place. There are times when it can work for stints, portions of games, maybe get your team on a run. But I think you have to be able to be more versatile with your roster. You need to have guys that are 6'10", 7 feet, 6'9", that can still get the job done, that you can put in. Because at the end of the day, you have to be versatile. What LA did to them was after the first game, LA decided, you know what? Okay, we're going to put our bigs on the bench. We're going to put Dwight Howard, on the bench. We're going to put JaVale McGee. We're going to put those guys on the bench, and
Mm-hmm.
we're going to play with fours at the five. We're going to get an extra wing on the court, and we're going to match what you do, and we still have more size.
Yep.
And that's what hurt them, and that's the difference between why Houston's probably going home tomorrow and why LA is going to be moving on to probably play the Clippers, who also are another team who has enough versatility where they can match, somebody want to run out with a 5 guard lineup. You have to have very, very good wing players and guys that can outplay their size if you're going to do that. And it's hard to do that for a long period of time, especially a 7-game series. It's just not destined to work.
Yeah, and you mentioned we're more than likely going to be looking at the Lakers and the Clippers, and we'll save any previews for that once it actually becomes a reality. But that's going to be a fun series if that's what we end up getting. That's going to be a very fun series, and after it's all over and done with, one of us is going to be wrong with our pick for the NBA champion for this year.
Yep. I will tell you this: if you want to talk about fun series, the series is coming on next. The game's coming on next. Toronto and Boston.
Bruh.
I have watched all the games. And I've loved every game.
So, so I don't know if you're watching the show or not, man. I would wish you luck, but I'm a Lakers fan, man. I can never root for Boston, so
Well,
maybe Kuka wish you some luck. Maybe he does everything against Boston.
I can say honestly, man, this is truly the first 50-50 game I think throughout the playoffs. Like this is the first game where you really look at it and say, I don't know who's gonna win. Even when Denver had their 7th game in the first round, you kind of knew they had the momentum. They were going to take care of Utah. Utah just lost it. But when you look at Boston, they have lost 2 games, but they've been in those games. It hasn't been a blowout yet. They've all been tough, contested, down to the wire games.
Yeah.
So when you have that, it's easy to say we just made a couple more plays. If we just focus a little bit more, we could already have won. Then if you're Toronto, we lost our best player, but we're still veterans. And a lot of those guys were on this team last year that did the same thing. So they know what to expect. Kyle Lowry, this series, anybody who's been a doubter of Kyle Lowry in the playoffs, you got to stop after the series. You have to stop. That man has ball. That man's been guarding bigs, taking charges, making big shots, just leaving it all on the floor. That man has ball this series. Fred VanVleet, he's done his job. Now you look at Boston, Jaylen Brown has done his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum has done his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And except for game 6, Kemba Walker's done his thing. I mean, you're allowed to have a bad game,
Yeah.
Kemba had a bad game last game. I don't expect him to come back out and play like that again either. So you think about it, took all of that for Toronto to get it to a game 7. So the stage is set, man. Honestly, when we get through, I'll be watching that game tonight. I want to see what's going to happen.
Me too.
And Miami should be watching that very closely too, because whoever they get, they're going to be in a dogfight.
Yeah. It's funny because you say that, but the other game that I've kind of felt that way was the Oklahoma City and Houston game 7. I really wasn't sure who was going to win that game. That was because you're talking about pretty evenly matched teams up until that point in that series.
Well, the reason I was pretty confident Houston was going to win was Russell Westbrook. They were matched pretty evenly until Westbrook got back. Now, Westbrook did blow game 6, but I think that was more, first or second game back. You still hadn't really kind of got back in your groove. Game 7, we saw Russ. We saw Russ come back. He had a bad game a couple of games ago, but he was obviously one of the better Houston players this last game. He was making shots and he was still playing hard when it felt like some of the guys had given up on the game. So I think when you look at the Oklahoma City Houston matchup, it was a foregone conclusion in my mind that Houston was going to win. I expected them to go to Game 7 just because Westbrook was just getting back, and he was going to need a couple of games to kind of get himself back in the groove. But I can't understand if someone like yourself said, "Hey, I thought that was a 50-50 game." I never believed it was, but if you did, I can respect that. But to me, this is the first one. This is the one where it's like, I don't know who's going to win. Either one of these teams could win in a close game, or somebody could blow somebody out. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say from a talent standpoint, Boston should win this game. But Toronto, man, they they're not going to give up. They're going to go out there. They're going to play you tough. This game's going to come down to the buzzer tonight, I believe, and I'm excited to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be loads of fun, man. It's gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna be loving it straight up. It's gonna be school basketball. They both play hard. There's no quit. They in there like every play. I mean, they were the announcers were even saying how they can't call every foul in that game because if they do, every play will be a foul.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You mentioned Kyle Lowry and how people, he's been a guy to take a lot of criticism. People need to really kind of put some respect on his name for the way he's played this year. Another guy that I think has had that reputation for folding that needs to get some props this year is James Harden. He's really stepped up his defense. And I know people are going to say, he hasn't played all that great the last couple games. He hasn't put up a lot of points, hand in this, hand in that. James Harden's been getting double teamed almost every single play by the Lakers.
Yep.
He has made the smart passes. He has tried to get into the paint to kick out to open shooters. His teammates aren't helping him. You cannot put this series off on James Harden. He has actually played extremely well and extremely smart for whatever situations he was put into. He might not have the numbers that you want him to have, but if you're being double teamed on every play, you shouldn't put up gaudy numbers. That's not good basketball. Good basketball is finding the open man and letting him shoot the shot instead of you trying to force it up into a double team.
That's fair. I mean, I can't disagree with you on that. He has shown a lot of maturity, and I still heard some different talk show hosts and personalities for sports talk saying how James Harden and Russell Westbrook can't win together because they're both ball hogs. And I'm like, did you watch this series?
Not at all.
You couldn't have watched this series because this has been the most impressive example I've ever seen of two ball dominant guards picking and choosing moments and saying, "You got it for a little while, bro. You got it for a little while. Let's hit them together. Let's whatever." That I've seen, and I would agree that James Harden has definitely not put up the offensive numbers, but he's played a lot smarter. I mean, Wine's too much for me. Him and LeBron.
Oh yeah.
I feel like every other play, him and LeBron is in some referee's face complaining about something. But as far as on the court, I'd have to say he's definitely playing a lot more mature and a lot different than even last year.
Well, it's funny, man, because you mentioned this to me last night that you never realized because of the crowd noise and everything else just how much all NBA players whine and cry on the court for stuff. It's like you see the superstars because they get animated about it. LeBron doesn't just want the referee to know he's not happy about a foul call. LeBron wants everybody in the world to know he's not happy about a missed foul call.
And LeBron's been a little chippy the last few games too. He's been a little chippy.
Yeah, LeBron.
He's normally.
LeBron like, look, man, I'm getting up there in age. I ain't got money. He sees his left. I'm trying to go get this ring, man. I need everything.
Yeah, LeBron been a little bit more chippy. Maybe been a little snippy with people lately. So interesting.
His head.
His headband LeBron.
His headband LeBron, bro. His headband LeBron out there, you see it.
But he ain't got no headband though.
I know, man. The memories are creeping up though. He remembering it. He probably looking in the mirror, seeing a hairline every day, having flashbacks.
Well, him and Caruso can be bald head brothers.
They go get Charles Barkley to be a third member, huh?
Speaking of Charles Barkley,
You know that's
so
why
I
I
know
brought it up.
we had a little fun with LeBron and all that a few weeks ago, but Charles Charles had a couple things to say that I'd have to agree with. So I'm gonna just leave it there. I'll let you guys go find a clip of Charles Barkley discussing LeBron and his hair. So I'll just leave it at that.
I do see we have some people tuning in, man. So just want to say what's up. Y'all drop some comments, man. Let us know where you coming from, who you are. If you got any questions, comments on anything, drop it in. We'll be happy to discuss it. We're
Football season starting. The team, what's up? What's going on?
yeah, man. Go ahead, put your team in the comments now. Go put it out there for the world to see. Don't be waiting until like week 6 to claim somebody now.
Don't be talking about you're a Tampa Bay fan in 3 weeks now because we're not accepting.
Right.
Not accepting.
All Tampa Bay Buccaneer transfer applications must be received by midnight tonight.
Exactly. Before you see them get out there and play against New Orleans.
Otherwise, otherwise you cannot go clean them after the fact.
So true. So next thing I wanted to kind of discuss real quick was the game last night. So I know you didn't see a lot of it because you were watching the Lakers game, but I'm sure you got a gist of how the game went. So I can say
if it went anything like the quarter and a half I watched, I'm glad I missed the first 2.5 quarters.
Well, I have Edwards Hilaire in like 3 fantasy leagues, so I was enjoying what I did see. But I read an article, and I want to say this first just so I can laugh more at the end. So I read an article where they were saying how people are saying that they should have kept the wide receiver and whatever. But if they had kept Hopkins, they wouldn't have been able to sign Deshaun Watson. They wouldn't have been able to sign. I think they signed like their middle linebacker, and I believe one of their linemen. It was a couple of different people they were able to extend because they did not put their money into DeAndre Hopkins. And you were talking about everybody was laughing at the Texans, but the Texans did the right thing, and they were praising Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb and Will Fuller and those guys. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm reading this article. I'm like, this has to be the poorest written article by the least informed journalist ever. So I'm watching the game last night. Fuller's dropping balls. Cobb's not really involved till the end. Deshaun Watson's still back there running for his life, just like last year. And I'm like, what did you do to improve the team? To me, it's different if B.O.B., which is what I'm calling him from now on.
Oh, Bob.
If B.O.B. had, or Billy O.B., whichever one you prefer, if Billy O.B. or B.O.B. had taken the money and said, all right, let me go and get us a solidified line to protect my quarterback, let me go out and find the best receiver that I can, via trade or whatever to bring in, or let me extend some people. Let's improve the team overall. I understand you signed some key pieces, but they didn't do anything last time. One of them, Deshaun Watson, did everything in his power. And he said this in his press conference, and I completely agree. He did everything in his power to help that team win.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more that one man can do to help a team win. But you have to have a team to win. Johnson played pretty decent. Got a touchdown, caught some passes, ran for 70 yards.
Look, which one? 31 or 25?
We're going to go with 31. D. Johnson, 31.
They're both D. Johnsons, all right?
Hey, that's why I said 31, man. That's why I said 31. I'll let y'all figure out which one it is. But decent game, right? But I just go back and I say the same thing I said when he made the move. It was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to think that what you brought in a wide receiver was in any way, shape, or form going to replace DeAndre Hopkins, that shows you're more ignorant than I ever gave you credit for in the beginning. And I thought you were pretty ignorant to begin with. So I think as long as Billy O.B., the general manager, keeps screwing B.O.B. the coach, there's going to continue to be a problem in their organization. You got to go out and you got to get some playmakers at wide receiver. You got to get a tight end that's a difference maker because your wide receivers are average. Your running backs are pretty decent, but they're nothing special. They're not horrible, but they're a little bit above average running backs from what I've seen so far throughout their careers. David Johnson, he's above average. He had one really great year, but he hasn't, repeated that since then.
Right.
Duke Johnson went to the U, good college running back, great college running back, but it's just been marginal in the NFL. Sometimes a change of pace is necessary, but whatever the case may be, you don't have any position besides quarterback where you really look and say they've got a top tier guy. That's a problem. And you had one at wide receiver and you let him go, and the compensation that you received back was a joke, and it's going to bite you in your behind for a long time.
And the thing is, all you had to really do was just go out and get some decent receivers who could actually hold on to the football. I only watched a quarter and a half of the game last night, and I saw at least 3 passes where he hit the receiver right in the hands, and the ball got dropped.
Not on the hands team.
Look, I played some wide receiver in high school. That's rule number 1. Ball hits you in the hands, you come down with it.
I pay wide receiver in flag football, and you better come down with that ball if it hits you in the hands. You feel me?
Everybody play wide receiver in flag football, man. There's only 2 things. Look, either
you
you throwing the ball or you catching, bro. That's it. That's your offense.
All I'm saying is, I don't know how you play, but we play line and all that. But point I'm making is, Deuce is not even getting paid, can catch the ball. When it hits you in the hands, you got to do better for your quarterback. Like if I'm Deshaun Watson right now, I'm pretty much like, I hate it here.
Yeah.
I wish I had signed that extension. I'm ready to get up out of here too.
Well, man, he asked for more money. Look, he asked for more money. I hope that he would get traded too, and they came back and said, "Okay." And he was like,
"That didn't work."
Man, I gotta sign this. He tried to get out, man. He tried.
Yep. On the other hand, Kansas City, they just straight up, to me, they just became even more dangerous because now Edwards-Helaire is like one game, but the man can run. Now, I will say he is in the Andy Reid offense, and Andy Reid will mess you up. So as long as Andy Reid lets Eric Bieniemy continue to call most of the plays, I think we'll be good. But if Andy Reid starts calling a bunch of plays, that's when we're going to have trouble. Andy gets a little bit, and I can say this, I'm an Eagles fan. I had him for a long time. Sometimes he gets a little bit too creative, and he does things that are just dumb because they sound good when you try to run them off yourself. But the kid's nice. And that's why I jumped on him in a draft, in a lot of drafts. Kid's nice. And he showed what he could do at LSU on a really good team. So we're not talking about someone that played where they didn't play top talent or the best talent you're going to play in college. So he showed what he could do, and I'm not surprised that he was able to translate. We talked about last week and a couple of weeks ago, running backs translate the easiest. Running backs and then wide receivers. Because if you got skills, you're athletic, you know how to read the play, hit the holes, or make the plays, you're going to get on the field. And Damian Williams opted out. Damian Williams, I don't think he made the right move. You might be in Tampa Bay next year.
It's funny because we're kind of used to teams coming out week 1, maybe not playing the best because they're a little rusty. really expected this year to see some really ugly play the first couple weeks of the season with no preseason games for people to ramp up. Man, the Chiefs out here playing like it's freaking week 17 already, dude. Like, these cats look like they're ready to roll into the playoffs already. It's ridiculous.
But you do have to keep in mind they were playing a team that is exactly what the first part of what you're saying. They weren't ready to play. Houston wasn't ready to play that game against Kansas City. They were
No,
not mentally, physically, or emotionally prepared for that game in this show.
no, they definitely weren't ready. And like you say, man, what Bob should have did was go out there and spend some money on that offensive line because if you get an offensive line that can actually give Deshaun Watson time, he can make those receivers they have look good. None of those guys are great, but he can make them look good. I think Kenny Stills could put up 1,000 yards for you.
All I'm saying is, if your quarterback is dancing, spinning Michael Vick esque just to get out of tackles, you have a problem. And
And
that's what I saw.
especially when it's happening before he even gets to his third step in his drop.
I would be like, if I was him, I would just catch the ball and run. Like,
Might as well.
hike, I would just be like, put me in the shotgun and then just hike it to me and then just let me read the field
He,
because you're not going to block for me anyway.
he about to go out there and start running that Tebow offense.
Yeah, let me run a Tebow offense until you give me some linemen and some wide receivers.
I'm just gonna go drop back here and run. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and throw jump
I
passes.
run. I may stop at the line and throw it. I may slide. May run out of bounds. But we're just gonna do all reads, all zone read. Just let that man run his own read.
Yeah, I mean, I think Houston will kind of get together over the season. Uh, Obviously, they'll get a little bit better and more prepared, and they obviously will run into a they won't run into such a buzzsaw. Hopefully next week, and they'll be able to kind of get their footing. I don't really think they expected for Kansas City to come out there. And the thing is, like you said, in adding Edwards Hilaire, they just added another dimension to that offense that Houston clearly was not prepared for at all. Because apparently Bob does not read any fantasy draft boards or anything.
Oh, and
Because
DeAndre Hopkins.
he seemed shocked.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins posted during the game. Grateful.
Dude,
I was
I don't,
like, bro.
dude, I don't know if you saw this, but Bleacher Report posted a picture that tells us DeAndre with the cryptic tweet. It's not cryptic.
There wasn't nothing cryptic about
It's,
it.
it's,
I'm
that's
glad he ain't there no more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, that's not. Do y'all know what cryptic means? Because that's not cryptic. It was pretty clear.
Yeah.
That dude was like, here's some dirt. Let me just shovel this dirt on y'all real quick.
Here's y'all couch. I'm just gonna grind my feet all in it. The
Yeah.
black shoe polish on it.
This is my y'all look at my boots going into your couch, grinding.
After walking through the mud.
Now you gonna stone cold on them.
It was tough, man. It was tough. Now, switch things up a little bit. Definitely want to talk about the games and who we think are going to win. But I also want to at least, touch on the WNBA a little bit here. They're going to be starting their playoffs next week. They're going to be doing it a little different. They're going to be doing single elimination games in the first round. So, first round will be numbers 5 through 8, and then so 5 and 8 will play in one game, 6 and 7 will play in one game. 3 and 4 automatically move to the second round,
Mhm.
and then they'll play the winners of those 2 games, and then the top 2 seeds automatically make it all the way to the semifinals. So their formats, a little different. and then those single elimination games in the first round, and then the 3 games in the second round, and then they get 5 games when they get to the finals. Um, is interesting, understandable with what they're having to kind of go through as far as trying to get everything done, being in the what everyone's calling the wubble, I guess the women's bubble.
Yeah.
So I just think it's different, but I like the single elimination kind of makes it interesting because it's like, oh, we got to get up for 1 game, and then the next round it's 3 games, the next round is 3 games, and then the finals is when it's 5 games. So it's like we got to get up and be ready. We don't have time to go out and lose the first game and try to make adjustments. Nah, you can use the
Actually,
first game to be at home.
the first two rounds are going to be single elimination.
Yeah, you're right. The first 2 rounds.
And then the semis and the finals will be best of 5 series.
Yes, sir. I did misspoke.
So I mean, but like you said, it's yeah, like you said, it makes it interesting because you don't have that game to just kind of go out there and get a feel for things. And if the NBA had did that the Lakers would have been eliminated twice. So, well, actually, they would have got to buy into the semifinals, but
yeah, they wouldn't have been eliminated because they wouldn't have played the first 2 rounds.
That might have been the only saving grace for them.
Pretty much, but nah, it's just to me, it's just exciting. It's different. And I love the fact that they're taking the chance. Obviously, they know they're not as popular as the NBA, so this cuts down the amount of games the teams that are losing will have to play, the amount of games the winners will have to play, but it still allows them to have a decent playoff. So I'm very excited about it. Um, I've championed them all season. I think people should watch them. Give them a shot. You'll enjoy it. The first round games, I know at least part of them are going to be on ESPN2, and then on ABC for their finals if they make it all the way to the game 5. So I would say, man, when you're looking at stuff to watch during the week, obviously weekends for a lot of people are going to be football, college, and pro. But during the week, man, you're looking for something to watch, man. Check them out. I think you'll enjoy what you see from the WNBA. Obviously, if you have a team still in the NBA playoffs, you may want to watch them instead. But I would advise people. I'm telling you, watch this WNBA game. It's fun. It's not as exciting all the time as the NBA, but it's fun. They have a lot of great players from college, a lot of veterans. They have a good mix, and it is fun. And those ladies play hard. So give it a shot, man. Give it a shot. You'll like it.
It's funny, man, because one of the things I look at with the WNBA, and I don't get to watch that much of their games, just due to my work schedule and things going on. But I do find a few games that I've gotten to watch, they play really good fundamental basketball, and that's something like if you're somebody who just wants to see like flashy plays and stuff like that, you probably won't enjoy it that much. But if you are a true basketball fan and you really enjoy just watching solid basketball, you'll probably enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, if you like, middle school ball, high school ball, semi-pro, the type of thing, this would be a great something for you to watch. If you've got a male or female child that you want to learn fundamentals of basketball, let them watch some WNBA.
So
That definitely be helpful for them.
so y'all not dead in the water yet, man. I just pulled up my the scores here because I wanted to see what's going on with the Boston game has started yet, and you guys are actually up right now on the Clippers with 30 seconds left.
Well, let's hope we can take it to another game, man. Every win, gives them some more confidence. Um, but yeah, just having said that, I think the WNBA does have a good product. It's something that should be able to last. It just needs support. All new things need support. All unique things need support. So I think if people watch, you get an opportunity. I think you'll like it. Obviously, this was a tricky season because they were starting their season the same time that the NBA was continuing, so it kind of made things a little tricky for them. So they normally play after the NBA, so they don't have that kind of head-to-head butting that went on this year. But trust me, it's a league you should check out. You definitely want to just expand your horizon and see some fundamental basketball. Why not give it a shot? If you don't like it, hey, at least you gave it a shot. I'm pretty confident most people will at least like it if they see it and at least say, you know what, if I'm turning around and nothing's else on, I'm turning through the channels, I'll stop and watch it. You know, never know, you might get into it. But we do need to have some time for our picks. Something we'll do every week, which would be our NFL picks. Based on the games that we have, who we think is going to win. So I'll go ahead and set it off. So the first game we'll look at is the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills.
I was about to say whoever they're playing. That's what I'm picking.
I'm going to go with Buffalo, but I could see this game actually going either way. But I'm going to go with Buffalo.
I actually only see this game going one way, and it's gonna be Buffalo.
Y'all sleeping on the Jets, man. I'm telling you, sleeping on the Jets. I am too, but sleeping on the Jets.
Hey. Night.
Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. Doesn't matter who the home team is. It's definitely going to Seattle. Now play the game.
So I have to ask, because I know it doesn't matter in terms of fans. Where is the game being played at?
Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. And it's a 1:00 game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Atlanta is actually going to pick up where they left off at the end of last year. And I think they're actually going to pull off this game.
They can pick up where they left off last year all they want. They still going to take this L.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. But I'm picking Atlanta.
I know why you picking them. But all I'm going to tell you is, of all the teams that come to the East and play these early games, Seattle's the one that has the most success. They figured out how to do it and have success. And Atlanta we don't even know if Todd Gurley is even going to be ready or if he's still as explosive as he used to be. We don't even know if he's going to be able to be a lead back. And I hope he does. Don't get me wrong. But just being honest, I don't see a way that Seattle loses this game, but I think it will be closer than it should be because of the time difference.
Oh, Atlanta's running game is going to be virtually non-existent.
That means you're going to allow Seattle to make you one-dimensional.
Well, they might make it one-dimensional, but unless I miss something and Calvin Ridley's not back ready to play, I think with Julio and Calvin Ridley out there, I think they can afford to be one-dimensional.
Well, that put points, no doubt about it. But I don't think they're going to win.
So,
next we'll have the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go Chicago. They're playing in a Ford Field, but I'm going to go Chicago. I think Trubisky has been getting clowned all off season up until this game. They're going to be missing Montgomery, so they're only going to have Tariq Cohen and whoever the other third string running back is, who nobody ever knows. But they have some decent receivers. And I think Trubisky is going to want to come out and make a statement and has to try to play well to make sure that he keeps his position.
I gotta tell you, man, this is a tough one. I don't have any confidence in either one of these teams.
Nor should you.
I want to say they're getting Stafford back. The Lions have a good chance to win this game. Matt Patricia has shown me absolutely nothing to make me think that he can coach this team to a victory. So but then I got Mitchell Trubisky on the other side. I'm going to say that Matthew Stafford is going to pull Deshaun Watson and win this game in spite of his coach.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings are next. Interesting game to me. I don't think he's going to be angry, Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he has enough weapons. We always know about Devontae Adams, but once you get past him, what do you have as far as wide receivers
Nothing.
and tight ends? So I'm going to actually say Minnesota here. In a close game, very close, because I actually think these are two of the better teams in the NFC. But I'm going to say, Minnesota is going to be able to pull it out. I think Cousins has shown that when he has the right chemistry with his guys, and he didn't have the right chemistry with Stephon Diggs, that was clear. But I think bringing in Justin Jefferson, I don't know if he'll play immediately. He'll probably need some time to adjust and climb up the depth chart to get a lot of time. But I think he'll be able to make some sort of impact. They have a good tight end. They still have Adam Thielen. They still have your boy at running back. I think they're the more balanced offensive team as of right now, and they should be able to win this game.
So Minnesota is the better team. They have more overall talent. It's more balanced. But for whatever reason, Green Bay just runs this division, man. And I feel like the ghost of seasons past is coming to visit the Minnesota Vikings, and it's gonna be deja vu. And Green Bay is gonna win this game, even though they shouldn't.
All right. Well, the next game is going to be the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. New England, Cam Newton's going to show all season that he was done wrong. And whoever he has, N'Keal Harry, Sonny Michel, Julian Edelman, whoever they piece together at tight end, whatever third receiver they're able to grab off the scrap heap somewhere. Cam's on a mission. Bill Belichick's on a mission. It starts with Miami in week 1, New England.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one. We talked last year about the job that Miami is doing with trying to build up a young roster, but they not ready. And Cam and Belichick are both highly motivated, like you said, because Belichick wants to prove he can win without Brady. Cam wants to prove that he was, done wrong and that he should have had an opportunity sooner. So we're in agreement on that one. New England.
The next one is the Eagles and the football team. There's so many things I could say. All I'm going to say is I don't recall the last time that the football team has beaten the Eagles. The Eagles are a better team on offense. They're close on defense. I don't know how our line is because I know we have some injuries. So depending on who actually ends up being, there and able to actually play once the season starts, I feel confident that we'll be able to get enough pressure on Haskins, who I believe is the starter this week, and Deshaun Jackson and some of our other guys are going to be able to do what needs to be done to make sure that we can, get this win. Starting off 1-0. Last year we got derailed from a lot of injuries. Hopefully we won't have that come about this year. Jason Peters is back at left tackle and got his pay raise. So let's go.
So if this were the second time you were playing Washington, I don't know when you're going to play them again this year, but if Alex Smith is back healthy and at quarterback and that defense has had a chance to kind of gel together and get themselves acquainted with each other and their playing styles, it might be tempting to pick the Washington football team. But this is week one. They haven't had a chance to do that, and like you said, I think Haskins is starting. So yeah, I'm gonna go Philly.
And they have a new coach.
Yes.
So next game is the Las Vegas Raiders and the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think they have an underrated quarterback in Carr. They did lose Williams for the season with an injury, but they've got some other guys, Renfro, Edwards. You know, they drafted Ruggs. They've got Josh Jacobs, who's a monster. Tight end Waller is great. Offensively, they're going to be able to get it done. Defensively is going to be an issue for them, but I do think that Carolina is going to have the same deficiencies as far as defense goes. And I don't really see, and this is no knock to Curtis Samuel or anyone else in Carolina, but I don't see a dynamic playmaker outside of Christian McCaffrey. So being that you have one dynamic playmaker, if the Raiders can't find a way to take him away, they deserve to lose, but I think they'll be able to score enough points to win this game. So I'm going to go with the Vegas Raiders. First game as the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to agree with you. Carolina, they have a brand new coach coming in. I watched a little bit of the bowl game that he coached in. I'm not impressed. I think that he is going to end up being in way over his head. I actually don't think Carolina is going to have that great of a season at all. And he might be a guy who only sticks around for a year or two. I mean, we'll see. Could end up being wrong about him, but I just wasn't very impressed with what I saw. And I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Next up, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. Indianapolis Colts only need to say 2 words to justify my decision. Philip Rivers. The other 2 words, Gardner Minshew. You tell me who you think is going to be able to win a game for their team.
I'm also going to go with the Colts, and I also have 2 words for you that justifies my decision. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Miller.
I think that Cleveland will be better this year. I correctly said that they would only win like 6 or 7 games last year. And I'm going to go ahead and go on record as saying that they'll win probably like 8 to 10 this year. So they're not going to be super great. They might make the playoffs since there's 7 teams in the playoffs now, but they're not going to suddenly become like a 12 or 13 win team. But they will be improved over last year, but not week one. I guess Lamar Jackson.
And to toot my own horn, I did also correctly speculate that they would not be good last year, but I do agree that they'll be a lot better this year.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that you just said Lamar Miller, so that takes points back away from you.
It doesn't. It'll be all right, Lamar. It's all good. Next, we have the 4:00 games: San Diego Chargers or LA Chargers, whoever they are now, against the Cincinnati Bengals. By right of who's playing who, I'm going to go with the Chargers. Joe Burrow is going to get a very lovely welcome to the NFL, a la the Bengals defense, who I don't think it's a great defense. They're going to be foaming at the mouth, drooling to destroy him as much as they can. And AJ Green hasn't played football in a long time, and they're going to have some fun with him as well. So I'm going to go Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers on that too. Just even though you do have a new quarterback out there, it is somebody who should be able to come in. They're a veteran quarterback. They should be able to come in and pick the system up pretty well, even without a lot of prep time, versus a rookie quarterback going out there and playing his first game who has not seen true NFL speed at this point. So he may go out there and have a decent game. He may have a horrible game. It's not going to matter because he's not going to have a great game, and that's what they would really need to win.
So next we have a lot of people saying the game of the week, Buccaneers and Saints. I'm going to go Saints.
Yeah, Mike Evans is doubtful. Probably not going to play in this game. I think Chris Godwin's obviously going to get some extra targets. You've got a couple of guys at tight end, Gronkowski and OJ Howard and Cameron Brate, all three at tight end out there. So they may mix it up a little bit. They went out and got a couple of different guys to fill out the running back position, and of course you got Tom Brady. So a lot of people are excited about this offense, what it's going to be, but you know this is Tom coming into a new offense, and obviously he's going to be able to pick it up and go out there and play. But he's got to get that chemistry with his receivers. New Orleans, they're pretty much the same roster they were last year. Sean Payton and Drew Brees have been together for years, and just from that standpoint, they're going to have an advantage. So even if the teams were really evenly matched, I would still pick New Orleans in a close game. I think it may be a little bit more of a beat down than people anticipate right now. It's not going to be like a blowout, but I don't think it will be as close as people might anticipate it being.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is going to spank them pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm thinking like probably at least like 10 points.
Yeah, at least 10.
Yeah.
Um, so next, we have the Cardinals and the 49ers. I'm going to take the 49ers. I'll let you explain why you're going to take the 49ers. We know you're going to take the 49ers. So,
yeah, of course.
All yours.
Yeah. You know, I want to start by giving some credit to Arizona, who played us really tough 2 games last year. And it's, a little bit scary the fact that they have now added DeAndre Hopkins. So I would understand if people want to pick them. I would understand why they might want to do that. And, another thing going against the Niners is the fact that it does not look like Deebo Samuel is going to be back for week 1. But with all that said, Kyle Shanahan has now had an entire offseason to go back and look at what you did and why you might have had some success against him. Don't forget, Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 of his best games last year were both against Arizona. He absolutely lit them up in both games last year. George Kittle also did not play in that second game. Arizona gave up touchdowns and yardage to tight ends last year like crazy. They gave up 2 touchdowns to Ross Dwelly when they played us. So Ross Dwelly is not George Kittle. So I think that even without Deebo Samuel out there, I think even with Arizona getting a little bit better, I think that we are still going to win this game. And I think that the continuity factor and the fact that we've now had an offseason to kind of go back and see what Arizona did to be so successful against us, especially their offense against our defense, we're going to be able to tighten some of that up, and we're going to get that dub.
There you have it. From the 49ers guy.
And I think that was actually a pretty reasonably non-homeristic, view of the game too. So relatively, anyways.
It was dripping homerism, but hey,
I mean,
it was just me here.
It was like a little homerism icing, but
But the night game, we have the Rams against the Cowboys. The Rams stunk last year. I don't see any major improvements for them to get better, so I'm going to assume that they're going to stink this year until they show me better. The Cowboys got another toy to stick in on offense. Going to go Cowboys.
So this is one of those situations where it's a little bit different than the way I've been picking, because I've been picking against teams that have new coaching staffs and are having to come in and make changes to what they're doing, and just kind of picking against them because they're at a bit of a disadvantage. I think in the case of Dallas, because of the amount of talent that you actually have on the field, not knowing exactly how they're going to run their schemes, because of the new coaching staff actually gives them an advantage. Like it might be a little bit of adjustment period, but I think it's actually going to give them an advantage in this game. And like you said, the Rams kind of sucked last year, so I mean they weren't terrible. I mean they actually would have been the 7th team into the playoffs last year. Let's not forget. But this is a team that last time I checked, their offensive line hasn't got any better, and Dallas they are going to be looking to get after the quarterback this year, and I think they're going to have some success. So I'm picking Dallas. I feel sick now. I think we just need to go into the show because we just both picked Dallas to win the game.
This is the last one, so you go throw up afterwards. All right, so then we got the 2 Monday night games. We have the Steelers and the Giants. The Giants have done nothing to convince me that they won't be the cellar dwellers again this year, but they were last year. They have a new coach. I think that from what I've heard, he may be moving them in the right direction. Week 1 against Pittsburgh is not going to be the right direction.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is going to thrash them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've heard some good things about their coach. I do think that he might be the right guy to help them get that thing turned around, but it's not happening in week 1, and it's not happening against Pittsburgh.
Agreed. So I had a couple of comments here from Malachi McCain. 2 words, Jacksonville Jaguars. He found that funny. And then CeeDee Lamb with some exclamation points. So take you like CeeDee Lamb. So.
Oh, CD.
Yeah. In the last game, of course, nothing too spectacular or too out there. But just want to say before we actually talk about the last game that these are some good matchups, actually, even the bad teams. I think that a lot of them are matched up against someone that they should have a chance to beat for the most part. You had a couple of games where it couldn't be helped, but for the most part, they were going to see some competitive games.
Yeah.
But this last one is the Titans and the Broncos. A lot of Drew Lock fans, John Elway saying he reminds him of him and all this and all that. Well, newsflash, Johnny Boy. I've researched the beginning of your career, and it wasn't that great. So if he is the next John Elway, he's got a few years before he's going to be able to burst through that top. Probably 15 quarterbacks. Great weapons, Cortland Sutton, different options, wide receiver that they have. They got good stable running backs. Defense is pretty good. Gonna miss Von Miller though. And then you have the Titans. The most overpaid quarterback in the league. Probably the best running back for the system that Tennessee is going to run. So you got to kind of, when I look at this game, I say quarterbacks, I say they're probably about equal. You say what you want about who feels like, who's better, but I say it's about equal. So when I look at the deciding factors is running back for me for this game. And I'm going to go with Denver because I feel as if they have a stable of running backs where whatever style of run is going to affect Tennessee the most, they're going to be able to have a guy back there that can do it. And Freeman, Ellis, and Gordon. So I'm actually going to go with Denver in a close one.
So the fact that Denver doesn't have Von Miller, the fact that Tennessee was able to add a Clowney to that defense that already made it to the AFC Championship game last year, I feel like this is a team that is ready to come out and compete week 1. Derrick Henry is obviously going to be fresh. He's going to be able to go out there and run all over them. And I don't put Ryan Tannehill in the same class as Drew Lock. I definitely think he's a little bit better than that. While I do agree that they paid him more than he should be paid, he's actually, when he's been able to stay healthy, he's been a decent quarterback. and he's able to put the ball down the field. They have some really good receivers there. So I think that Tennessee is actually going to win this game. Now, maybe if Von Miller's out there healthy, maybe I go with Denver, but taking him off the field kind of hurts Denver a lot, in my opinion.
All I'm going to say is I completely disagree on your quarterback evaluation.
Well, you made that abundantly clear when you said he was the most overpaid quarterback in the league, considering that Gardner Minshew is being paid to be a starter right now, and Nick Foles and Nick Foles is being paid to be on a roster. Period. And Mitchell Trubisky is being paid to be a starter too. By the way, just throw some names out there for you to consider, man. Just don't.
Mitchell Trubisky is still on his rookie deal,
And he's still overpaid.
It's cold blooded, man. It's cold blooded.
Might be cold blooded, man, but look, it might be cold blooded, man. But that's why I had to sit there and pick the Lions over the Bears, dude. Come on, I picked the Lions, okay? The Detroit Lions to win a game.
All I can say is the best thing about this is it's all recorded. So we're both going to be wrong at least on 2 games. So hopefully they're not 2 games that we pick the same, so that way one of us can laugh at the other one. But hey,
I would like to say too, assuming that LA handles their business tomorrow, which by the way, y'all did win, so y'all are now going to a game 6 against the Clippers. But assuming the Lakers can handle their business tomorrow, last week I did say that I see no reason why LA should lose more than 1 game against Houston. Fortunately, our first game was not on Friday. Or I should say not on Thursday, because then all y'all would have been hitting me up on Friday talking about, so, oh, y'all lost game 1. Comment section been
rated show ever.
Comment section been blowing up. Boss, we're happy your team, man. But look, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there, man, because me and you been talking about it, and it's not gonna matter after we play Houston again. It's not gonna matter in the next series. We've been playing rope a dope, man. I really do believe. Like I said it in the beginning, kind of joking, but I really do think that's what LA is doing to the Rockets right now, man. I really think they're going out there, they're building up a lead against them. They're letting the Rockets like expend all this energy to get back into the game in the fourth quarter. And then LeBron and AD, like, they've been basically resting for like a quarter. And then they're like, all right, now let's go in there and finish the game off. That's really what I think they're doing, man. I was starting to think it's actually the strategy. I was joking about it at first, so I'm actually starting to think it might be real.
It actually would make sense the way they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, look,
just so you know, sir.
I'm just looking for any excuse I can get right now for why we'd be taking like whole quarters off the games.
Well, LeBron's older, man. You know, they talk about his age every 5 plays. So
LeBron older, AD ain't old.
AD back is older than us.
That's true. His back older than LeBron.
Himself is young, but his back is older than us.
So Malachi, he a Steelers fan.
I believe so.
Now look now. We didn't say that on the show. Look, Malachi, we said it on the show. Don't be coming up here this week talking about some Bucks Nation or anything, okay? Like,
no, we don't do that, man. We don't do that. You pick a team and you got to ride or die. A lot of times you die more than you ride, but you got to die.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, my first game ever going out to San Francisco was to watch a team that ended up 2-14. It's back when we had it's back when we had Alex Smith. He got hurt the week before, so I ended up watching Trent Dilfer play quarterback.
I gotta tell you, man, that's traumatic.
It was horrible, man. It's horrible.
That's traumatic. Watching Trent Dilfer when he won the Super Bowl was traumatic.
I,
So I
I'm
know watching him later on after that was even worse.
I'm happy to say the second game I got a chance to go to, we won 35-0. So I felt cleansed and redeemed.
You know that nasty yuck and mojo,
Yeah,
bad
man.
mojo off you.
Yeah, man.
These teams, man, they drive us crazy.
They do, man. They do. But if you guys are checking out the show on the replay, or if you're listening to the podcast over on Anchor or Spotify, Google Podcasts, or whatever, make sure that you drop in the comments of the show. I know on Anchor you can actually send us voice messages too, so make sure that you guys do that. And make sure that you go ahead, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You can never remember which one is supposed to point. One of these down here, go ahead and hit that button and go ahead and subscribe for us down there in the bottom right hand corner. And share this with us. Share this with your peoples, man. Go ahead and help us show up a little bit. So cool, Bun. Before we oh, go ahead.
Anybody that that may be interested in the show, just have them jump on, check out an episode. If they like it, cool. If not, it's all love, man. But I think it's a good alternative for people where you can get somewhere where you can actually be part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? You can pop in the comments. You can really talk with us, tell us how you feel. You can get on later, respond. Things like that. So that way, because if you're watching the replay and you go on and you decide that you want to comment on something of the show, man, we'll talk about it next week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a show we say this a lot, but I don't think people understand how serious we are about it. This is a show for the people, by the people. We're people just like y'all. We like to talk sports, we like to have fun, we give our opinions. But as you notice, man, we don't come on here and say, if you don't agree with the way I think or the way this person thinks, you're wrong. We just don't agree.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't agree with each other, so like about Ryan Tannehill. Like about Ryan Tannehill.
One of us is definitely wrong about Ryan Tannehill.
Just so you know, you're not pointing at me; you're pointing the other way.
They know I'm talking about this guy.
There's somebody over there. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, this guy. Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he's been watching Ryan Tannehill play.
I watched Ryan Tannehill play. Somebody clearly watched the entire games into the playoffs came though.
I watched him in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. You did watch him to the playoffs.
Oh, I watched him in the regular season too.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel and Kyle Shanahan had the same playoff plan. Just keep handing the ball off.
Well, the difference was Mike Vrabel had that same plan all season.
Hey, come on, man. You let Tannehill throw it every now and then.
He did it every now and then. I mean, he used the passing game like most people use the run game. Oh, we ran the ball 7 times in a row. Throw it twice, Ryan. Pretty much what he did.
He's still better than Bob, though.
Listen, I never would argue that he's better than Bob. You understand what I'm saying? He's better than Bob if he understands the concept of sports. Bob doesn't even understand what sports are about. Bob's like, you want more money? Bye. If you're not a quarterback or one of our best players in the position, not a wide receiver, and you want more money, you got to go.
Let's just be honest. If you're not quarterback or JJ Watt, just call it what it is, man. That's basically it. That's, everybody else is like, whatever, we can replace you. Whatever.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bobby O. B-O-B.
Oh, B-O-B.
Bobby O-B.
Oh, B-O-H. Bombs over Houston.
All I can tell you, man, if that dude can be a general manager and a head coach, and this is off the subject, but Donald Trump can be president, then we should be able to run some organizations.
Listen.
You feel me?
Somebody get Bob on the phone. Let him know I can at least hold on to the ball. are going straight down. I'm not taking no hits from no NFL players.
So you doing a Deshaun Jackson?
I don't know the Deshaun Jackson, bro. I'll catch the ball going straight down.
Oh, I see a defender coming. I'm getting down.
Hey, look, and don't be asking me to go over the middle. No, I'm good, bro. I'm running nothing but out.
Throw me the ball in the middle. It better be to the outside while I'm crossing the middle.
I'm running nothing but outs. That's all I'm doing. Outs and push routes. That's it.
Because if you throw me that ball in a slant or in, I'm gonna get alligator arms real quick.
Uh-huh. You better hope they don't pick it off, because I ain't catching it. I might knock it down for you. Look, I might rent a carpet for you.
I tip it Randall Cobb. There you go, bro.
Shoot the J. Shoot it.
Catch the ball. Catch it.
Oh, they're definitely not doing that. They're definitely not doing. You put stick him on Randall Cobb's hands, he ain't catching the ball.
Deshaun Watson was mad after that game, straight up.
Dude, did you see the one where he threw the ball down the sideline? And the dude, I mean, it was a little bit of a tough catch for him to make at the angle he was at, but he took a poor angle and made it a tougher catch than what it should have been. Because he didn't seem to trust that his quarterback was going to put the ball where it needed to be, and then he adjusted to it. Yeah. And then they showed the replay afterwards. Deshaun Watson, like, sitting there looking, he's like,
did you see the one?
He's like, bruh.
Where he ran and he ended up on the bench beside Patrick Mahomes. It looked like he was saying, "Bro, you want to swap?"
He's like, bruh. He's like, bruh, can you talk to your defense? Ask them to, like, have a little bit of pity on me. Just, you guys can make it look good, but maybe just, not actually hit me a couple times. That would be great.
Right. Can y'all just count to 5,000 before y'all come? Like we play in the streets, tell us to count to 5,000.
Just anything, man. Can I get a 3 Mississippi?
We get the 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, and then can you ask him to just say, "I'm coming"?
Yeah. Maybe he should just come to the line and start shouting out Omaha and see if that helps.
Omaha. Kill. Bro, I'm telling you, Peyton Manning used to come to the line, say all that stuff, and change nothing. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? It's the same play.
Hey, just be able to just call us up just to call it, bro. Just trying to make it look like you're doing something different.
Spider-wide banana.
Spider-wide banana. Oh, John Gruden.
Oh, Johnny G.
Oh, Johnny. Well, man, we're actually way over time, but give a shout out to everybody who joined us tonight. So whether you're joining us live or you're catching us on a replay, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. But definitely join us every Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be here live, and love to chat with you guys. So
absolutely. Live and direct every Friday. How we do.
But man, with that, it's time to end the show, which means we have to remind everybody that even the sun goes down.
And heroes eventually die.
And horoscopes often lie.
But sometimes why?
None is for show.
None is for certain.
But until they close the curtain,
it's him and I.
The play callers. Y'all better know that.
Yeah.
He's pointing to Shaolin.
From the ATL to the QC.
See y'all next week, man.